Hello, I'm Bill Dawson. I am with Oakland Nursery today. I'm not at Oakland Nursery today. We're making some house calls. So I'm a horticulturalist, and I'm out here at the Mid-Ohio Food Collective Garden. I'm with Trevor Horn, farm manager of this garden, and there's a few more as well, right?
There is.
Tell me a little bit about the Mid-Ohio Food Collective. It used to be the Food Pantry. It's the Food Collective now, and you have several gardens.
Yep, so we've got 5 different pillars here at the collective, and one of those pillars is actually focused primarily on farming. The concept that we have is nearly a total of 10 acres as we continue to grow. One of our 2.7 acre locations is behind MSC 4 on Olentangy Road. We've got 7 acres over at the hilltop on the west side, and then here you're in our education garden where we hope to inspire and spark interest in students who are really wanting to learn, whether it's elementary to middle school to high school, or just a local neighbor here interested in becoming more effective and efficient in growing in their garden.
Awesome. Well, we're making a house call today. Oakland Nursery wants to come out and help you with the garden problems. I know you know it all, but you were asking me about tomatoes.
Yeah, so one of the things that we're looking to is make sure that we're growing as long in the season as possible.
Yeah.
What advice do you have for us to make sure that we can be as successful and retain as much of the produce from the grows?
Today is the last day of summer. We're filming on the last day of summer.
Doesn't get any better
Going
than
into
that.
fall.
Yep.
We've got the whole month of September. So people think, oh, I got to tear my tomatoes out. I'm done. You know, no. You've got tomatoes on this vine that are green. You've got some that are ripening. And you've got some little ones that they might not get big enough even for fried green tomatoes. And you've got flowers. Is that going to be a tomato this year? Not a big one. You're not going to have it. We're going to cut that off. We're actually going to cut that back to the next big tomato that we think will grow. And so we can cut a lot of this foliage back. I'm going to take your little ones off. So the energy that it was trying to put into those flowers up here, wherever they went, is now going to go into these tomatoes the whole month of September. Now, September can be iffy. You might have to cover, you know, if you're going to get a hard frost, but these are going to ripen. And then if they're just close to ripe, you can take them inside, window shelf, brown bag, put them near an apple, they'll ripen. So you'll still get those tomatoes. Then I'm going to look at the tomato plant as well, and these bottom leaves aren't doing you anything. They aren't even green. So I would take those off. And let's put all that good energy right into your remaining tomatoes that you are going to ripen. You'll still want to leave some green because that's energy as well. But the flowers, this one's got flowers on it. That's not going to get big enough to be a tomato for this year. So we just take that off. So go through your tomatoes, clean them up like that. Get rid of yellow, old leaves, dying leaves, flowers, down to the tomato that you want to ripen. That's good. So we've got some more gardening questions. You've got volunteers out here.
We've got all kinds of volunteers here.
All right. Well, I'll go talk to them and see if they've got some gardening questions. Thanks, Trevor.
Appreciate you.
All right, we're going to walk over here. We're making a house call today.
Bill?
I'm a horticulturalist, and I'm for Oakland Nursery today. And we're coming out to ask people, you know, got any problems at home? How can we help? But you're with Bath & Body Works.
We sure are.
And you're volunteering here today at the Food Collective. Why?
That's exactly right. We're here to give back and really strengthen our ties to the community.
Awesome. That's great. You have several volunteers. Most of them are working. You're not. But
Now, you know what? That's exactly right.
I asked you to sit down. So throw a gardening question at me.
So, Bill, I have several different gardens, and one of the challenges I run into is deer coming in and really just ravaging all of the different beautiful greens that I've spent so much time growing from the spring.
Food garden?
Food garden, yeah.
Okay.
So tomatoes and pepper plants.
Okay. So they're eating those. Have you done anything to control?
I've done several different things.
Okay.
I've sprayed different kinds of sprays that I've gotten at Oakland Nursery. They have
Yep.
a wonderful selection there.
Yes, they
But
do.
then on top of it, done some fencing techniques
Okay.
and try
Okay.
to do things like that.
You know, that's perfect. What I always tell people about wildlife in the garden is learn 2 things: habit and habitat.
Okay.
So what's their habit? Does deer come out at 6 in the morning, 6 at night? Well, that's kind of their time, dawn and dusk.
Yeah.
be out there if you can.
Okay.
Run a sprinkler or something. Let the dog out if you got a dog.
That's a great
You
idea.
know, is to have some activity out there during those times because you're learning the animal. And so if that animal's out there at those times, that's when you want to be out there doing something, you know, and they'll move on. But the other thing is fencing. Deer, you almost need an 8-foot fence unless you're covering the garden itself. And, you know, but they can jump. And now they don't like to jump into an enclosure, so if that garden is small, sometimes you can get with a 6-foot fence. If they can't jump in, they don't want to feel trapped.
Yes.
But I think you said you had a dog.
We do have a dog.
Take the dog out, let him do its business around that
around the garden
fence,
box.
around the garden. When you cut your hair,
Put some hair
put the
clippings
hair
there.
down, hair
Yeah.
clippings, a human scent. Sometimes I'll even collect it from barbers and put it around there because you know scarecrows weren't put out there like this to scare deer. It was the old farmer's sweaty sweatshirt clothes that it was on it that really repelled the deer, the crows, and other things like that.
I learned something new today, Bill.
All right, well,
Appreciate
just
the
go out and be a
opportunity.
scarecrow and stink.
Yes.
Yeah. So now, who am I with here?
Hi, Ashley.
Ashley. And Ashley, I caught you working over there in the garden, and it looked like you were a gardener. So I asked you, do you have any gardening questions?
Yeah, I'm a beginner, Bill.
Okay.
So I would love to know how to garden indoors for food.
Indoors for food. It's tricky, especially in the wintertime, I guess,
Yes.
but you know, that's when you can't grow it outside. So if you're growing herbs, that's a really good way to start. Herbs are pretty tough. They can grow in rocky soil, they can grow in hard soil, they can go without water for a while, except your basil. Basil likes water. But get some good sized pots that'll either fit on a windowsill or on an area where you're getting bright but indirect light. So a really bright area and away from the heating vent so the heating vent gets right on it.
Okay.
And then pot them up, put them in those pots and label them, get to know them, talk to them, water them in, but they have to have drainage.
Okay.
And so make sure that pot you put them in has a hole in the bottom and then put it on a saucer. A lot of times I'll use an old margarine lid or something like that, or a nice saucer that goes with a pot.
Okay.
Set it on there, water your plant. After the water drains into that saucer, pour it out.
Okay.
Set it on. If it drains again in there, pour it out. You don't want it sitting in water, the roots will rot. But I always say use your Dawson digit device, your finger. Stick it in there. If it's wet, don't water.
Okay.
If it's moist, wait a day. Check it the next day, it's dry, down to your fingertip, give it a good water.
That's perfect advice.
And then let it dry out again. And you'll be growing your herbs. You'll get kind of an idea. If you want to grow lettuce or kale or radish or even sunflowers, you'd probably be growing them as microgreens inside.
Okay.
So you can plant a whole flat of them. Just scatter the seed, let it come up, and snip that off like they do in the fancy restaurants. You have this really expensive, pretty salad.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and use some herbs in there too.
I love that. Thank
All
you.
right. Well, there's our house call today at the Mid-Ohio Food Collective. I'm Bill Dawson. I'll see you next time.